6 clubs, Gabi, are reportedly in danger of breaching the PSR, so the profit and sustainability rules from the Premier League, if they don't guarantee and generate cash before June 30th. Gab, who are they? And should their fans be worried?
All right, no surprise here. This is reported by Sky over here and a bunch of others. So it's obviously been a briefing, right? So we kind of know, because funny enough, it's Leicester who are already under investigation 70 ways from tomorrow. It's Forest and Everton who were both penalised before. So of course you're going to. All they're saying, I think, if you're an Everton or Forest fan, and I would hope that this is how it works, and don't hold me to it, but Everton, I've already been penalised twice for this, right? All they're saying is, guys, you need to sell by this date so you can square it away. You're still paying the price for stuff that happened before, but that's kind of how it works. It's over, there's this rolling period. And Forest as well, not a surprise. Newcastle, I'm assuming, is all down to that big spree that they had and the fact that then they didn't qualify for Europe. Chelsea, we've talked about. There's the sale of the hotel business, which is a bit funny. I think it's still totally unclear whether they'll accept that or not. Even if without the hotels, Lewis Hall, Omari Hutchinson, they'll get there. Possibly Maatsen.
Yeah, they make enough money.
So Villa is the one that surprised me a little bit.
They spend a lot, though.
They did spend a lot. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, so are they going to balance this out by shifting somebody? And then when you look at this Villa team, if I were to ask you, okay, which Villa players are there that you're willing to let go for a fee to cash in? There aren't going to, obviously, Watkins, you could sell for a lot of money, presumably.
Douglas Luiz.
You don't want
Watkins.
You
don't want to sell them,
Douglas Luiz is maybe the only one because there's a bit of a contractual issue there.
Yeah.
Tielemans arrived on a free, but then he's going to be on big wages, so this,
and he's not going to bring you like 60 million or 70
so
million. So
I just kind of wondering what, Matty Cash's name is being bandied about.
Maybe Konsa, or even Emi Martinez. But then you need to, that's the thing, you need to replace them by players who are same level or better.
The market for goalkeepers there's just too many keepers on the market right now. So it's not going to be Emi Martinez, I don't think.
VAR is going nowhere, Gab. Premier League clubs voted 19-1 to keep it at their meeting last Thursday. We know who the one is, obviously it's Wolves, but all of the 19 have voted in favour of keeping it, but they promised to improve it.
Gee, what a shock. This is so stupid. Like, a lot of media outside of England, when Wolves put the challenge, like, oh, the Premier League want to abolish VAR, they'll vote on it, blah, blah, blah. It's not close. It's one team. It's one team that was, I don't even think they want to abolish VAR. I think they just want VAR to be improved.
Yeah.
They've said all the right things. I think the only thing that's really going to make a difference is semi-automatic offside, which is going to come in October. They want quicker decisions. They want better training. Gee, who doesn't want better training? Yeah, better communications. Sure. Where they have big screens that are equipped to do it, they'll show the incident on the screen. Yeah. Keep the fans. These are all common sense things.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to come over time with better officiating, more people who are specifically trained to be VARs. Jamie Vardy has signed a 1-year extension at Leicester. Jules, he's 38 in January, but this warms my heart.
It's lovely, really lovely. I think I know what you're going to say. I think he would have signed a new deal with a pay cut, obviously, at his age. But it's great. He scored 18 goals in the Championship last season. It was a big part, even if he started a lot of games on the bench and came on during games, because I don't think at 38 he can start every single game, certainly not in the Premier League next season. But you know what he's going to bring you if he comes in for the last 10, 20, 25 minutes. Obviously, we don't know who the next manager is. It doesn't matter, though. Vardy is Vardy. Not Solskjaer for sure. And you would think that whoever is the next manager would be very happy to have him still in the dressing room anywhere and be able to bring him as a super sub.
Just as a reminder of just like how wild his story is, I think he needs like 8 goals to pass Robin van Persie on the Premier League scorers list, which, again, football was invented in 1992, but it's so significant when you consider he only got to the top flight way late in his career.
30 or something like that.
It's just such a wonderful story.
Yeah. St. Pauli, Fabian Hürzeler is reportedly the favourite now, Gab, to take over Brighton. We know that Brighton like to think outside of the box, but this is way, way outside of the box.
It really is for so many reasons. So first of all, he was born in the U.S. I'm assuming he has an American passport, which
I think so.
He kind of becomes like the answer to a trivia question. I mean, his parents worked in Houston, and he was born there, and then he moved away when he was 2. So I don't think he necessarily has any kind of Texan twang when he speaks in English.
To Texas,
But, again, rubbish player, started coaching at a young age. People saw his talent, coached in the amateur leagues, got involved with the under-20 setup, the under-21 German setup, became an assistant coach at St. Pauli in 2020, and then has been coaching St. Pauli for 2 years and got promoted. Now, this is a huge leap outside the box, even for Brighton, who like to do things that others don't do. You hope that he got it right. He's certainly, I think, going to be a lot less of a pain in the backside that our man Robbie DZ became towards the end of his tenure there. Spurs are reportedly ready to let Tanguy Ndombele leave for nothing, even though he has a year left on his contract. So much for that 50 million euro option to buy that Galatasaray negotiated.
Yeah, and didn't feel like triggering, obviously, because he was just not good enough in that season. I think this is such a waste. An incredible waste, Gab. One of the worst transfers at this kind of we're talking like he's still, I think, right now the most expensive Spurs signing, I think, at £65 million. It has to be one of the worst for transfers of that caliber, of that kind of money. I don't
Anthony's
know.
like, hold my beer, but whatever.
Yeah, but you see what I mean?
Yeah,
it's one of those. It's the one that you can talk about. Dembele to Barcelona, or even, you see what I mean? It's like those Coutinho to those super expensive ones. I mean, he's even worse than those two guys.
We spoke
Hazard
to
to Real Madrid,
who said that he's probably the most talented player who's ever had as a teammate.
Listen, I've seen him do things that I promise you, not many people in the whole world can do with the ball.
You sound like the guy from 2001: Space Odyssey.
No, but I just don't know what I just don't know what happened. And we talked about Martial before because you like taking the mickey. No, you like taking the mickey. But it's a similar situation, Gab. Martial has done better at United than Ndombele has done at Spurs. But it's those super. But when I say super talented, I just want people to understand how talented those guys are. They are so good, and yet you don't see it because they don't fancy it, because they don't want to train. Because they don't want to train and to run and put the effort in and do this and do that. Because the attitude is wrong. Because
is it wrong attitude? I mean, can we definitively say when people sit in Ndombele down and say, Tanguy, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah.
What does he say?
He will never admit it, I think. He will say, well, that coach didn't trust me. I didn't have a feeling with him. This one didn't play me. This one kept shouting at me. I mean, Mourinho and Ndombele, you can write a book about their relationship, the love and hate. Because I think Mourinho...
Remember they went running together during the pandemic?
Yeah. He went to knock at his door and Ndombele was, who's that in the pandemic? And he was just saying, come down, let's go running.
Who's that? I'm your boss.
In your park, yeah. But the love and hate, because I think Jose, of all people, it's like, man, this is an absolute waste. You're so good. Why don't you use all that talent? I don't know. But he would have enough money, so maybe it's down to that. Maybe those guys who maybe have less ambition and are not as driven as a Cristiano, just to take the most extreme example of driven people, and just think, you know what, I'll have a career anyway. I'll play for good teams. I'll earn a lot of money, and that's enough for me.
He has a year left on his contract, so obviously when we say Spurs would let him leave for free, Spurs aren't going to cancel his contract.
No, they're going to pay him off a bit.
They either pay him off or they just let him go on loan somewhere, let his contract expire, then he becomes a free agent.
Yeah, but I think it's just really sad situation.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been linked with the vacant job at Leicester City.
Oh, right.
Jules, he last worked in 2021.
Yes.
Albeit at Old Trafford. Is that a concern? Or will you tell me that the concern is that he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because you're going to be mean. Like you're mean about most former Manchester United managers.
I would only say that it's maybe not a coincidence if he hasn't worked in 3 years. That's all I'm saying.
Come on. All right, let me ask you this.
He was just not a very good manager. That's as simple as that. He was not at Mulder. He was not at Cardiff. He was not at Manchester United either.
Every single Manchester United manager is on a boat that's sinking. Yeah. Right? You come by in your yacht. Yeah. Every single former Manchester United manager since Sir Alex Ferguson.
Okay.
And you can only save one to manage Paris Saint-Germain next year. Yeah. Who do you save?
Ralph Rangnick.
Oh, that's your first choice.
Straight away.
Who's your second choice?
So what? Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, and Ten Hag, right?
You can have Carrick too if you want.
Oh my God, and Carrick.
And Giggs.
Oh my, no. I was on holidays with him, by the way, last week. That was strange in itself. I go Mourinho because it's box office. And then Ten Hag maybe.
Mourinho, Paris Saint-Germain, that's a match,
Can
maybe.
you imagine? I would love it. Back to Bayern, Gab. Fulham have reportedly rejected Bayern's £30 million bid for João Palhinha.
So this is the part I don't understand, right? So last August...
Yeah? I knew you were going to say that. I was going to say the same.
Was it August or was it January? Whatever.
Yeah, the 31st of August. Remember, he traveled to Munich. He was at the airport on the last day of the transfer window.
And they bid 60 million, 50 million for him. And Thomas Tuchel was like, yeah, the number 6, yeah. Right? And now, supposedly, in the meantime, Palhinha has signed a contract extension through 2027.
That's right.
And now they think, let's just bid 30 million?
Yeah.
I know.
Because he's a year older, so we knock off half of the price that we offered a year ago.
Even though now he's got the long-term contract. Yeah. And also, does Palhinha seem to you like a company-type player?
No, definitely not. No, that's not the 6 we want. But Max Albert said the other day, I saw him in an interview saying, someone like, he was obviously not at the club last summer, and said, someone like Palhinha and would have resolved the issues we had in midfield. So, clearly Max Herbert is on board with the need of a number 6, but is Palhinha really the kind of company lacks a ball playing number 6, not just a guy, a destructor?
You know who really doesn't like Palhinha?
No.
I mean, really, really doesn't like, to the point that, so we did our FC 100, right? And Ryan O'Hanlon, from his data perspective, although in this one he says it's not even about data, it's just eye test. He explained to us what we got wrong, what players we ranked too high, and what players we ranked too low. He's not having Palhinha anywhere near the top 30.
Okay.
And he says his ball progression is bad, his passing is bad, all this other stuff.
That's just not his role. So you can't base your judgment on somebody who doesn't play like that. He's not asked to carry the ball, and he's not asked to pass the ball in a certain way either. So,
right. Well, you take it up with Ryan.
Yeah.
And he says, plus, just your eye test, not even his nerdy data stuff, just looking at him says, this guy is not good at playing the sport of football. That's his point.
Fair enough.